My daughter and I decorate these cakes. These are actually faux cakes. And I started doing this because I love designing displays and decorating for parties, and I like to use real food, you know, elegant cakes in the decor or in a room too. So I made some for myself for my pictures. I've had pictures in magazines, and I wanted to continue that with my decorating. So I learned how to make these, trial and error. And these are faux cakes, and people were real interested, so my daughter got involved with it, and we make these faux cakes, and I like to show them off whenever I can. Now this project today is a cake stand, and that's the reason I'm so interested in cake stands, is because of cakes. But I've always loved cake stands, and I've always loved nice cakes. So I started buying cakes and using them, but that got expensive and also a temptation to eat them. So you buy a couple of these trash cans, Dollar Good, Dollar Tree, and I just bought some of their dollar scissors and wrote metal on them and just use them when I'm cutting metal, because it does, you know, cause them to become dull after a while. And I just went down about an inch. Okay, and try to keep it nice and rounded, smooth, because it is a little bit delicate. Okay, the next thing I did was just started what they would call crimping, just pushing these together. And also I have gloves. If you want to use gloves, it might help. So you just go all the way around, crimping this with your hands. After you've crimped it, crimp it again. Continue to do that till you can get it as tight as possible. And then you want to go back, and anything that's lost its shape, because you want a nice round, kind of like an oval shape at the top. Like right here, see it's gone in a little bit? You just want to shape that with your hands. The more even your cut, the better it will be, easier to work with. So if you haven't cut it just right, like I haven't, you could always trim it then. Okay, there's another spot right there. You can use your hands a little bit to mold it. Now, after you've done that, we're going to take another one and cut it about here, so you'll have this shape. Now after I cut it where I would have these little extra pieces, and then I just kind of fold that all the way around. This is just my trial piece, so it's not perfect, but you get the idea. Cut it evenly for sure. Be careful with this one, because it's going to set on this, so you need it to be, this one's smaller because the last one I made, for example, was smaller, but you'll want it bigger. So you'll want to come up into it quite a bit, you know, maybe like 3 or 4 inches, so you have plenty to work with. All right. Okay, you've cut this section out about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and I crimp it. And as you crimp it, you'll see you'll have a lot of extra. Cut that off, because you want it to fit on here, something like that. And you want it to just touch the bottom of that. So I'll even have to cut more. So I crimped it, and it's round, and then I decide exactly what size I need it, and then I will trim the extra off. Okay, I got this for $1 at Hobby Lobby. Actually, it might have been a little more. It was half off, and it was $1.99. It was either 40 or 50% off. Now that'll fit right up in there, or there may be something you have at home, a finial, that you could use like from the top of an old lamp or from curtains, and it will sit like this. That's not necessary, but I thought it was pretty. And then you'll add metal flowers, decorations from the Dollar Tree. I know you've seen them with all their summer products, all the metal that they have. And they have birds and butterflies and leaves, and paint those white, and then we'll glue them around the finial, or if you're not using a finial, you will just glue them like that. Also, for the top, I'm adding some spirals, and this is just wire from one of the craft stores. Now this is a little thicker than some wire you might use, your basic wire for crafts. It's bendable, but it's still stiff so that you can arrange it, and it's about the stiffness of this wire, maybe a little less, but it adds a lot, and it has that look, I think, like this wire does. And of course, this is coated in a fabric, but you can get it without that, and I'll just have to paint it white. But this will also go, you know. Okay, so now you've cut another one, and this part, you're going to use the bottom. And you cut it up about 7 or 8 of these openings. Okay, and then you want to just start pulling it apart. Not pulling it apart, spreading it apart. And then it'll look something like this. And your cake will actually sit here, and this will go on top. Okay, but now you want to make a little, like, legs. That's not what it would be called. So you can either go from this side where it dips in, or you can do it this way. It's really personal preference. And what you'll do is you'll come in, let's see, you don't want to come in more than like 3 rows of this. So like 1, 2, 3, and then you'll bend. And you want to slowly do that as you go around to keep it in perfect shape. So 3 rolls all the way around, and then that will be the bottom, and it will set like that. After you've shaped it, and if you can get it a definite, I want to say a square, but that's not the right word, so it's straight, and then the bottom, the very bottom one, pull it or cut it, whatever your strength is, and put them together like this. The last one, break it, and you put it with the one next to it, and this just gives it some interest. It looks more sculptured, and it will sit like that. It will sit on that. Let me make sure you can see that. All right, and you can shape it to bring that up a little bit so it's nice and even.